Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Simplified Basic Concepts. In this video, I'm going to discuss about recruitment. This is the second video in the series of staffing. In my first video, I discussed about staffing, its purpose, importance, and components. Then components, I discussed that there are three components or elements of staffing that are recruitment, selection, training and development. So here I'll be taking up recruitment in details, and in my next video I'll be covering the next two elements of staffing. See, staffing is all about the hiring, training and development, selection and compensation part of the human resources, right? And human resources are the most important asset of any organization, because it is with the help of these assets all the other asset of organization is used, so that the organization can effectively and efficiently achieve their goals. So in the process of hiring the human resources or employees of any organization, the first step is recruitment. So recruitment is said to be a positive process because it's basically finding out those employees or prospective candidates which have the potential to satisfy or fulfill the vacancies of the organization, and encouraging those candidates to apply for the vacant position in the organization. That is why recruitment is said to be a positive process of searching and attracting the prospective employees and encouraging them to apply for the job in the organization. When more job seekers apply for the job, then there will be a possibility of recruiting better person for the vacant position, right? And the job seekers are always in search of the organization that offers them employment. So recruitment is basically a linkage activity which brings both the job seekers and the organization which are offering jobs. So in simple terms, if we have to define recruitment, it means discovering the sources from where the potential employees may be selected to fill the vacant position of the organization. Now, potential employee or prospective employee means those employees or those candidates who have those qualities, those skills which are required in the vacant position. Okay. Now, the definition of recruitment. Dale Yoder said it is the way through which the manpower requirements of the organization can be fulfilled. It employs effective procedure to attract the people in ample amount. Ample here means enough or huge amount, to make sure that a suitable person is recruited on the available job profile. Kempner said, recruitment is identified as a first step of process which persists with selection and ends with the joining of suitable candidate in the organization. Whereas Edwin B. Flippo said that recruitment is a process of searching for prospective employees and stimulating and encouraging them to apply for a job in an organization. So recruitment consists of two things. First, finding out the prospective or potential candidates, and secondly, encouraging them to apply for the vacant position in the organization. It is said to be a positive process because here there is no rejection. The only thing which organization does here is to encourage the employees to apply for the vacant positions, right? Now, the factors which influence the recruitment in an organization. First is size of the enterprise. The number of person to be recruited will obviously depend upon the size of the organization or enterprise. If the organization is big, then there will be requirement of more people or employees at regular interval, whereas in small undertaking or organizations, the requirement will be lesser as compared to the bigger organizations. So generally what happens is big organizations are always in touch with such sources of supply of the employees, and they always try to attract more and more person to make proper selection, right? The second factor is employment conditions. The employment conditions in an economy greatly affects the recruitment process. In underdeveloped economies where the employment opportunities are limited and there is unavailability of suitable candidates because of lack of education and technical facilities, there the problem persists in the recruitment procedure. So in these situations, recruitment process becomes very cumbersome for the recruiting department because it is very problematic for them to find out suitable candidate for the vacant positions. The next factor is salary structure. The wages offered plays a very important role in motivating the employees. So the wages offered by an enterprise greatly influence the recruitment procedure too. If any organization pay higher wages, then they will not face difficulty in making recruitment. It will be very easy for them to encourage the job seekers to apply in their organization. Whereas if any organization pays less wages to their employees as compared to the other organization, then for such organization the basic problem along with recruitment will be labor turnover. That is, the employees who are working in such organization will generally tend to switch their jobs organizations which pay them higher wages. The next factor is working condition. The working condition in an enterprise will determine the job satisfaction of the employees. So an enterprise or organization offering good working conditions like proper sanitation, lighting, ventilation, etc. would give more job satisfaction to the employees, and these employees in turn may not leave their present job. Hence recruitment in such organization will be less. Whereas organization where the employment conditions or the working conditions are not proper or as per the expectation of the employee, there again the attrition rate or turnover rate of the employees will be higher. That is, more and more employee will tend to leave such organization. So thus in such organization again the recruitment requirement will be higher. The last factor is rate of growth. The growth rate of an enterprise also affects the recruitment process. An expanding organization will require regular employment of new employees, whereas a stagnant enterprise, that is any organization which is not expanding or growing, can recruit person only when present incumbent vacates his position on retirement, etc. Now the recruitment process. Like any process, the recruitment process too begins with planning. So the first step in recruitment process is recruitment planning. The second step is making a strategy of the recruitment. Third stage is searching for the right candidates. Fourth stage is screening of the candidate, and the last and final stage is evaluation and control. So in recruitment planning, which is the first step of recruitment process, a structured recruitment plan is made, which helps to attract the potential candidate from the pool of candidates. Here by pool of candidate, we mean that there are many job seekers who keep on looking for the job. But for any organization who is recruiting, the first and foremost thing is from those pool of candidate or from those bunch of job seekers, it is very important to find out relevant job seekers. That is, those people or those employees whose skills are matching or with the vacant position in an organization. Those employees or job seekers should be encouraged to apply. That will be better for the organization rather than encouraging all the candidates which are not relevant to the vacant position in the organization. Right? That is why it is said that a structured recruitment plan helps to attract the potential candidates, right? That is, those candidates who have matching skills with the vacant position from the pool of the candidates available in the market. So in recruitment planning, the first and foremost thing to be noticed is to identify the vacancy or the vacant position in the organization. So generally what happens in any organization, there are many departments, and if in any department there are a vacant position, then such department sends requests, that is called as requisitions, to the HR department. Right? So let's take an example that in an organization there are finance department, marketing department, production department, operations department and HR department. And in finance department there is a vacancy of 2 finance executives, and in operations department there is a vacancy of operation executive. So what the finance manager and operations manager will do, they will write in details about the vacant position and will send the request to the HR department, that they have such and such vacancy in their organization, what is the profile's name, what is the job roles, what are the job duties, skills, everything in detail these managers will mention and will send the HR department. Right. So the requisition or the requests which is sent by the respective department to the HR department contains the details about the number of positions or posts to be filled, number of positions, duties and responsibilities to be performed, qualifications and experience required, and all other details about the vacant position. So after the vacancy is identified, it is the responsibility of the sourcing manager or the HR manager to ensure whether the position is required or not. At times what happens that certain departments at times raises such positions or vacancies which are actually not required or not essential at that point of time for the organization. So it is the first and foremost duty of the HR department to ensure that these positions are actually required and they are not unnecessarily created by the respective department. And once that is being confirmed, then the HR department along with the respective department finds out whether the position is permanent or temporary, whether it should be full-time or part-time, and all other details related to the positions. Right. So in recruitment planning, basically job analysis is done, and job analysis is about analyzing and describing the vacant job position. Right. So what did we understand here? That the first step in the recruitment process is recruitment planning, and under recruitment planning, the first thing is to identify which position is vacant in the organization, and the second step is to do job analysis, that is to find out the details about the vacant job position. So job analysis is a primary tool to collect all the informations related about the job. It is a procedure for determining the duties and skill requirement of a job and kind of person who should be hired to perform these jobs. Right. Job analysis basically helps in identifying what a job actually demands and what an employee must possess to perform the job productively. So job analysis explains the tasks, what are important, and how to perform them at the job. So the immediate products of job analysis are job description and job specification. Now, see, job analysis, as I said, consists of job description and job analysis, right? So here what we have done basically is job analysis is nothing but the details about the job, and here the details about the job has been bifurcated into two parts. One is called the job description and one is called the job specification. Job description explains all the details about the job, and job specification explains the skills required by the person who will do the job. Right, now let's understand this in details. So job description is a written statement which provides information about the extent of job roles, job responsibilities, and the positioning of the job in the organization. So everything related with the job, that is what is the role of the job, what are the responsibilities of the job, and what will be the position of the person who will be performing the job. Everything is mentioned in job description. So the job description basically gives the employer and the organization a clear idea of what an employee must do to meet the requirement of his job responsibilities. So the things which will come under job descriptions are the job title, job location, summary of job, job duties, that is what are the duties of the particular job, what are the machines, materials and equipments which will be used to do the job, what is the process of supervision, that is that particular type of job requires supervision or the person who will be doing the job will supervise, what is the working condition, what are the health hazards related to it. Everything which is related to a particular job will be explained in job description. Clear? And next comes job specification. So job specification defines the knowledge, skills and abilities that are required by a candidate to be hired to perform on the job in an organization. Right, like to perform a particular job, what are the qualifications needed, what training and development an employee should have, what are the work responsibilities of the particular job that one has to do, the emotional characteristics of the person which is required to perform a particular job, the career plan, the skills, knowledge of the job, length of experience of the candidate, the attitude which is required by the candidate to do the job, and the degree of education which the candidate should have to perform the job. So everything which is related to the candidate, that is the details, the knowledge, the skills which a person should have, right, to perform the job is called as job specification. Now let's understand the job specification and job details with the help of this example. Now for an example, there is a position of finance executive, right, and the employment type is full-time and permanent, and the role category is finance or audit. So for this profile of finance executive, the job description will be as accounts supervisor or finance executive. The candidate will supervise the accounts function within the finance department by overseeing the development and process of accurate reports and accounts management, manage all accounts, queries and disputes related to the accounts, balance accounts on daily, weekly and monthly basis, build accurate financial reports and identify discrepancies clearly, and execute on tasks, requests as instructed by the finance manager or general manager. So this is the job description. That is, any person who will be appointed as finance executive, he will be doing these all things in his day-to-day job. Now what will be the job specification for finance executive? It will be the previous experience in a high volume accounts function, computer literate with good MS Excel skills, good time management and organization skills, high level of attention to detail and accuracy, ability to develop strong working relationship with internal and external customers, and relevant degree in accounting or related business discipline from an academic institution. So job specification here mentions clearly that any person who will apply for the job should possess these skills. So generally what happens when there is a position vacant, like here we see an example that is a finance executive. So these are the details which are mentioned, right? So this detail generally comes from the respective department. That is, if the position is a finance executive, so these details will be given to the HR department by the finance department, and an HR person not necessarily have complete idea about the working of the finance department. So to give a clear idea to the HR person who will be hiring, the finance department gives a very detailed explanation about the job analysis, that is about the job to be done, in the form of job description and job specification. In simple terms, the job description explains what to do in this job. Finance executive should possess what qualifications, what skills will be explained in job specification. So when the HR department is clear about the job description and job specification, he knows that whatever resume or whatever job application from the concerned job seeker is coming, whether that is relevant or not. Now let's see the difference between job description and job specification. See, job description is basically a written statement which explains about the major requirements of a particular job, right? Like we saw in example about the finance executive. This job specification explains the eligibility requirement of a person to perform the particular job. So job specification is related to the requirements of a person, that is the skills which a person requires. Okay. In job description, it lists out the job titles, its duties, tasks and responsibilities which are involved in a job. And job specifications gives details about employees' qualifications, skills, abilities, knowledge, everything related to a person who will be doing the job. Job description expresses what a prospective employee must do when he will get the placement in the organization at that position, whereas job specification expresses what an applicant must possess for getting selected, right? So job description basically says that when a person will be hired, he will be doing these things, these works at the job. And job specification basically focuses on those skills which an employee must possess to be hired or for getting selected for the mentioned position. The job description is prepared for job analysis and job specification is prepared for job description. Right? Job description describes the job and job specification describes the specifications of the job holder. So the job description explains about, once again I would repeat, about the designation, place of the work, scope, salary range, working hours, responsibility, authority, reporting nature, etc., which is related to the job. And job specification specifies about the educational qualification, experience, skills, knowledge, age, abilities, work orientation factors, etc., about the person whom they'll be hiring or selecting for the particular profile. At times people get confused between job analysis, job description, job specification and job evaluation. So I hope till now it's clear that job analysis is equal to job description plus job specification. Now what is job evaluation? See, job evaluation is completely different term. It is a systematic process of determining the worth of a job in relation to another job in organization. So during job evaluation, the relative worth of various jobs are accessed so that wages can be paid depending upon the worth of the job. So main objective of job evaluation is to analyze and determine which job commands how much pay. And there are several methods such as job grading, job classification, job ranking, etc., which are involved in job evaluation. So it basically forms the basis for salary and wage negotiation. So I'll be covering this topic in details when I'll be starting with salary and wage negotiation. I just explained it so that one doesn't get confused between job specification, job description, job analysis and job evaluation. Job evaluation is completely different with those three. Right? Second step is recruitment strategy. Till now we were covering recruitment planning. Now the second step in the process of recruitment is recruitment strategy. Here a strategy is prepared for hiring the resources, that is for hiring the employees. After completing the preparation of job description and job specification, the next step here is to decide what strategy should the HR department or the hiring department should adopt for recruiting the potential candidate for the organization. Now, while preparing a recruitment strategy, the HR team can consider the following points, like whether it should hire the employee from within the organization or from outside the organization. So at times the term make or buy employees is used, right? Make or buy employees here means making employees means hiring from internal sources, that is within the organization, and buying the employee means hiring from external sources, that is outside the organization when employees are hired. Right? And what type of recruitment procedure should be used, whether a particular geographical location or geographical area should be focused, or what should be the strategy based on which the candidates should be encouraged or those candidates should be targeted so that they apply for the vacant position. See, development of recruitment strategy is a very long process, but it is very important to have the right strategy to attract the right candidate. So the following steps are involved in developing a recruitment strategy. The first is setting up a board team. Second is analyzing the HR strategy. And third is collection of available data. Right? When all these things are done, then the recruitment process moves to the third step, which is searching the right candidate. Now, searching is the process of recruitment where the manager verifies and permits the existence of the vacancy and the search of candidates starts here. So the HR department, when they confirm that actually a vacancy is existing, that is there is actual requirement of an individual or employee for the vacant position in the organization, then based on that recruitment strategy is made. And then in the third step, the search for the candidate starts, right? So here the organization selects the source of recruitment through which the communication of the vacant position reaches to the respective candidate. And there are basically two main sources of recruitment. One is internal source and second is external source. As the name suggests, internal source of recruitment refers to hiring the employees from within the organization. That is, if organization A has a vacant position, it will try to fill that position from within the employees which it has. External sources means recruiting employees from or hiring employees from outside the organization. The example of internal source of recruitments are promotions, transfers, former employees, internal advertisements, and employee referrals. So at times it happens that a candidate or an employee is either promoted to fill that vacant position, or a relevant candidate is transferred from other department to that vacant position, right? So these are the ways in which the vacant positions are internally filled. Or any former employee who was working in the organization is being called to fill the vacant position, or internal job postings are there. Internal advertisements or internal job postings are also a way of recruitment. Here what happens that when a vacancy is created, so the HR department notifies and informs all the departments in the organization that such and such vacancy is created in our organization, right? And all the details are mentioned to the employees, so that the employees working in the organization get to know that such and such vacancy is created and what are the eligibility criteria. And based on that, the position is filled internally from the employees who are working inside the organization. Then the last one is employee referrals. Employee referral means when an employee is working in an organization and he gets to know about the vacant position in an organization, he comes up with the relevant resume of either. So here the HR department is not actually going and finding out the potential candidate, but in turn the employees who are working in the organization, they come up with the resumes, right? Now the external sources, that is the sources which are outside the organization. So one is employment exchanges, second is placement agencies like the headhunters.com, naukri.com, monster.com. So these are example of placement agencies. Then third way is through advertisements. Now advertisements we have seen in newspapers, but there are many other sources on which the advertisements or job postings are done, just to make the job seekers know that there are such and such vacancies created and they can come and apply for these positions. Then campus recruitment. In many campuses, college campuses, these days the organizations go and recruit the relevant candidates, right? So the final year candidates are recruited by the organization based on the skills that are required for the vacant position, and once these candidates or the students finish their final year, then they can come and join the organization. So that is the way of campus recruitment. And the last one is word of mouth. Basic focus is to make the job seekers aware about the vacant positions. So word of mouth plays a very important role here. Person gets to know about the vacant job position via other person, right? So this way the information about the vacant job position is known to the concerned person. So these were the ways of sources of recruitment. And then the fourth step is screening of the candidate. The screening or shortlisting starts after the completion of the process of sourcing of candidates. The third step of sourcing of the candidate is done, that is when the HR department or the sourcing department of the organization decides that which source of recruitment they'll be choosing. Then the fourth step comes, which is screening or shortlisting of the candidates. Screening is the process of filtering the applications of the candidates for further selection process. That is, here all the unqualified or irrelevant candidates' resumes are removed which were received through sourcing, right? So in sourcing what happens, the internally or externally the candidates or job seekers are being informed that such and such vacancy is created, and they are being encouraged to apply for the vacant job position. And when application comes for such and such job or for the vacant position in an organization, then screening is done, where the irrelevant and unqualified candidates' resumes being removed, right? And the process of screening of recruitment consists of 3 steps. The first one is reviewing of resumes and cover letter. The second step is conducting telephonic or video interview. Then third step is identifying the top candidates. If there is such a position in which the requirement of educational qualification requirement is of BTech, and if such resumes come where the candidate has not even passed 12th standard or is studying in graduation, then his qualification is not at all matching with the requirement of the vacant position. So such completely irrelevant resumes are being screened in the screening process. The first step in checking the relevancy is reviewing of resumes and cover letters. In this process, the resume of the candidates are reviewed and checked for the candidate's education, work experience, and overall background matching the requirement of the job. So while reviewing the resumes, the hiring executive must keep the few points in mind, like the reason for change of job, how long was the person working in each organizations, that is in the last organization where the candidate was working, that was for how long, why is there long gaps in the employment of the candidate, and if there is job hopping, the reason for job hopping. Job hopping means frequent job changes, and if there is lack of career progression, then why is it there? So these things should be noticed and focused by the hiring executive. So any candidate who is a job hopper, that is who changes on job quickly, will not be preferred, because such candidate, if hired, may leave this organization also quickly. So this will in turn will increase the recruitment cost of the organization, because again after some time the HR department will have to hire the same employee. So job hoppers or such candidate who has got long gaps in the employment, or they doesn't stick for long time in each organization, such candidates are not preferred generally by good organizations, right? Then the second thing is conducting telephonic or video interview. In this process, the candidate are contacted through phone or video by the hiring manager, and this screening process has 2 outcomes. The one, it helps in verifying whether the candidates are still active or not. Active means at times it happens that a candidate at the time of applying applies for the job, but when his resume is being selected, then it is found out that he at that point of time is not actually looking for the job. So the very first thing with the HR people, or before considering the resume of a person in recruitment, it becomes very important by the hiring manager to find out whether the candidate is still actively looking for the job or not. And the second is, this telephonic or video interview gives an idea to the hiring manager about the candidate's attitude, ability to answer interview questions, and communication skills. Sometimes it happens that many things are mentioned in the resume of a candidate, but how far these things are true and matching with the attitude and communication skills of the employee or the job seeker, that is important, and those things are verified during the telephonic or video interview, right? Third step is identifying the top candidates. So here the best resumes are shortlisted, which makes it easy for the hiring manager to take a decision. So when all these things are done, the last step of the recruitment process is evaluation and control. In evaluation and control, the basic thing which is focused is to validate the effectiveness of the entire recruitment process. The cost that is incurred in the entire recruitment process, that is to be evaluated and controlled effectively. Now, what are the recruitment costs? The first is salaries to the recruiters, then comes the advertisement costs and other costs like the agency fees, then comes the administrative expenses, the cost incurred in recruiting unsuitable candidates. Last is time spent by the management in preparing the job description, job specification, in conducting interviews. So basically in evaluation and control step, it is found out that step the evaluation of the entire recruitment process is done, whether it is effective or not, whether the costs which is incurred, that is relevant or not, and if not, then what should be the control procedures here, right? So that the organization doesn't incur any unnecessary cost in this recruitment process. Now finally, the question that is to be asked here is whether the recruitment methods used are valid or not, and whether the process itself is effective or not. And with this, the entire recruitment process ends here. So the recruitment process begins with identifying the vacancy, then finding out relevant recruitment strategy. Based on the recruitment strategy, the recruitment sources, whether it should be internal source or external sources, selected. And when the sources are selected and candidates are encouraged to apply for the job, best candidates are screened and all the irrelevant resumes are removed, and finally evaluation and control of the recruitment process is done, and if there is any flaw, then it is checked at this. Now the last point is importance of recruitment. So recruitment is very important to encourage and attract the potential candidates and to get more and more applications for the job vacancies. Recruitment is an effective way to create information pool about the prospective candidates who are suitable for the organization. It is very important step of planning and analyzing about the present and future manpower requirement of the organization. Recruitment bridges the gap between the employers and the future employee, because this is the first step where the employers and the future employee come in contact with each other. Recruitment is a less expensive way of gathering information about the talented manpower in the industry, and it helps to improve the selection process by proper sorting of suitable candidate for the job. Recruitment reduces the turnover of employees, that is, the attrition rate is controlled by proper recruitment due to correct matching of the candidate's expectation and the reward offered by the organization. So with this, we come to the end of the topic recruitment. In my next video, I'll be covering selection. So do like and subscribe my channel, which is Simplified Basic Concepts. Thank you.